everyone, I'm Rick with EcoSteps Coatings. Thanks for joining me. We're going to go through a series of tutorials to help familiarize yourselves with some of these products and their use and techniques. But before we do that, I think we'll give a little background on some of the products and where the EcoSteps system came about from. We've been in the water-based coatings for years, when they were really bad, when they were nothing more than a paint with no color added to it. Very soft film, not a very durable one, very, very temperamental and hard to use. We progressed through that, a lot of animosity and so forth, but we stuck with it, started coming out with some decent ones. We marketed those, did really well. Then they had their own problems, whether it be managerial problems, financial problems, what have you. The need came for us to develop our own. So what I did in developing this product was take everything we had learned from the last 20 years of products and complaints from contractors and the positives from and built it into a system. Little background on this: waterborne versus water-based. You hear a lot of those. It's a water-based lacquer, it's a waterborne lacquer. Ours is a waterborne lacquer, and there's some room for debate on the semantics of this, but in a nutshell, a water-based product is basically a coating or what have you that is solvent in nature but reducible or dissolvable in water. So it's really kind of a quasi-mixture. It's mostly solvent, but you can reduce it in water. Usually results in a higher VOC, higher level of toxicity, and so forth. The EcoSteps coating, my coatings, is a waterborne system. It's born of water. It started from water. The entire system is built with water in and around it. Where's the plus and minus is that? Toxicity levels and those things aside, what it does is when a water-based coating coalesces or dries out, it can't redissolve. It can't go back into solution. So once it's on there and dried, that's it. That could have a few negatives. When you get a run, you don't get to squirt on a little lacquer thinner like you do in the nitrocellulose stuff and have it disappear. That's not going to happen. But the positive of that is, if something spills on your cabinets or what have you, it's not a big deal because it's not going to melt into the finish. You have a nice lacquered countertop and daughter's cleaning her nails with nail polish remover or acetone, she spills it on there, guess what? That finish is toast. It's gone. The solvent is going to remelt right into that real quickly. So there's a lot of benefits to having something waterborne. All of the EcoSteps systems coatings are self-crosslinked. What that means is it's a tighter, much tighter film. Easy analogy is kind of a chicken wire or chain link fence and ping pong balls. I wish I had a visual kind of like Dr. Oz does for these things, but if you look at a piece of chain link fence and you throw a whole bunch of ping pong balls on it, most of those ping pong balls are going to fall through the fence. That's a normal coating, a non-cross-linked coating. It's a nice woven web and so forth, but those ping pong balls will fall through it. So that would be stains, chemicals, what have you, or the ping pong balls. They'll fall through that, disturb the coating, disrupt the coating, spill. Now when you cross-link something, instead of using chain link fence, that chain link fence turns into chicken wire, real tight little squares. Throw those same ping pong balls or stains and impurities on that, they don't go through it. It's such a tight woven film, nothing really penetrates it. So that's the benefit of a self-cross-linking product. It's almost analogous to something being catalyzed or pre-catalyzed, but kind of at a different level from that one. It actually almost steps it up one level from that. So just again, with a background again on this, it's a complete line. One of the real negatives that's always been out there with waterborne coatings is this manufacturer makes this one clear coating. This guy will make a pigment. Nobody makes a complete system to replace lacquer. So everyone was cherry picking little bits and then they'd go back to solvent, and just was not a cohesive system for them to use. That was paramount when we built this product. It is everything from stains, gel stains, toners, multiple clear finishes, pigmented coatings, primers, sanding sealers if you want them, not necessary, but if you want them. glazes, it's just everything in there, and quite a few specialty products in the mix as well. Pretty much everything you can do in a solvent system, we can duplicate within the water system. Now, that being said, everything's going to have its own quirks. There's always a learning curve. With the EcoStep systems, we heard that so much and so often that they didn't want to take the time to make it work, or to allow it to work. So when building this, that was paramount. It had to be something that was turnkey, the minimal amount of a learning curve. Now, quick thing on learning curves. This is going all over the country, I understand that. We're in Southern California, probably the strictest VOC laws in the country. All of these things are extremely low VOC. Anything from 20 to, I think the highest product in the line is sitting at about 72 VOC. Extremely low. We're not going to have to worry about VOC issues with this product. However, because we are so strict on our VOCs here, everything is very limited. Whole lot of water-based lacquers out there that are still sitting at the 500 plus VOCs for it. It's not usable. Why switch? It's more difficult to use. We wanted that learning curve to be smooth and easy. So we took all the things that people were using in pre-catalyzed lacquer. I'm not counting nitrocellulose lacquers. Yeah, there's still plenty of them used. That's not where this is marketed towards. We went towards a high-end type product. Not necessarily an expensive product, and I'll touch on that, but an extremely high-end product that is extremely durable, yet production-oriented. So you get the quick dry times, you get the extreme durability, and in most all cases, more durable than its solvent counterpart. But that all kind of worked into developing the entire system. Everything works together. What I mean by that is you have the stain, you have the clears. You stained it, cleared it, customer wants it a little darker. Add some of the stain to the clear. Everything is intercompatible for the most part. You can take, if you had some of the Spray Master, some of the Brushmaster, some of the UV Master, you had one small little area to touch up, not enough, dump them all together, spray it on, it'll turn out perfect. Everything is compatible. You don't have to worry about chemistry. When this product line was built, that saying we have, keeping it simple, stupid, was paramount. The finishers are out there finishing and building. That's what they're supposed to do. The chemistry is supposed to be our part. We do the chemistry to make it so that you pop the can, start applying, it's done. All of these things were paramount. Now, getting back to the fact that we're in Southern California, anyone in Southern California has been fighting with the VOC issues and products changing for years now. Whether it was at 750, 675, 550, 275 VOCs on all these things, each time these changed, it was a big learning curve to work with on this. And in our store, we carry some of the solvent-based stuff as well. So we've dealt with all these learning curves each time. And it was a major learning curve. But the guys just adapted, politically correct, the guys, gals, the people adapted to it to make it work. So it's the same thing here. Each change, there's going to be a slight learning curve. But we have absolutely minimized this. It should be very, very simple. If you set your mind to saying, we are switching to water-based, this is going to work for us, I guarantee you it will work. I have never had a cabinet shop completely switch over to it and then switch back to solvent. Once you commit to it, you learn it just like you learn any other product. It is so simple and forgiving, you just won't even think of switching back. Most of the people that have switched are the best sales force that we have out there, because someone will come into the shop, ask about solvent lacquer, what have you. If one of our regulars is there, we stand back and they start telling the customer why they need to switch, what the benefits are of it, and so forth. Makes our job easy. So it's a very simplistic, simple, it's redundant, but it's a very simplistic system to use, everything intercompatible. It's very difficult to make mistakes with this. Let the product do it itself. There is on the website, there's a tutorial going through several of the procedures and steps for it. Quick refresher, I can tell you directly to your face, you must do it this way, and this way. That's ridiculous. You're going to develop your own ways of doing it. If I tell you spray on 2 coats first, then sand, then a final coat, you may look at me, call me an idiot, and go, no. I'm going to sand between every coat and I'm going to stack 4 coats on it. Fine, if it works for you, do it. Whatever is more beneficial to you, do it. We have guidelines set up, but the product is forgiving and malleable to where you make the call on it. Okay, quickly, water-based versus solvent-based on it. I've touched on most of those things. The waterborne products that we have here, they are non-yellowing, long-term non-yellowing, which means in 6 months, 6 years, it's going to be the same clarity. Solvent-based, as you well know, goes and continues to amber and amber and amber as time goes on. It's impossible to touch it up because the color has changed so much over time with it. Now, on that subject, a big concern with water-based is it's very anemic looking. It doesn't make the wood grain pop out. We have combated that. In all of our coatings, some of them more than others. Take Brushmaster, for example. You put that on a piece of oak, that grain jumps and pops out to you. It's not a toned product, it's still crystal clear, but through chemistry it's able to make that grain stand out and look, not solventy, but I don't want to use that terminology, but make it look like a big, deep, rich color, not just an anemic piece of cellophane put over the surface like most water-based and waterborne products are. So our products do make that grain pop, so you're not going to give that up. Once the grain is popped as well, that's it. It's not going to continue to change over time. It's that way permanently for it. I want to run over you real quickly some of the products that we have. The bread and butter product is the Spraymaster. That is the production-oriented, spray everything, high-end type product. This would fall into the category of like a pre-catalyzed, a high-end pre-catalyzed lacquer out there. It's going to step up from that in terms of chemical resistance and durability and so forth, but just to try and give you an area for it to go in, that would be like a pre-catalyzed lacquer. Very easy to use, dries to sand in 15 to 20 minutes, and it's a powder sand. Nothing gummy about this. When it's on, it's dry. It is a hard film, yet it's not brittle. It is a very flexible film. Solvent-based lacquers, they go on, they dry very hard, but they dry brittle. So as soon as the wood flexes, you get a crack or a shatter in the film. It's not going to happen with water-based. So that area around the sink that always tends to delaminate because it flexes from all the water and so forth, and then delaminates and everything looks bad underneath it, that doesn't happen with waterborne products. It's at least these waterborne products. The coating goes on there, as long as there's not a breach in it, it stays intact. Everything can flex all at once, it's going to stay intact with it. Brushmaster, probably our second most popular product. Like the name says, it's a brushable product. Now you don't have time to lollygag and paint out a big garage door with this with a 2-inch brush. It's not designed that. It's still a production product, but you have enough time. If you were painting this, or let's say a larger one, this one you could brush out with solvent-based lacquer or the Spraymaster. But say you had something larger than that, a refrigerator end panel, you have enough time to use a pad or what have you to brush that surface out and make it look good. A lot of tricks, or a lot of contractors do the trick of taking all the doors and drawer faces off, laying them flat, spraying all those out, and rather than bagging off the entire kitchen, they'll come back with the Brushmaster and brush out all the carcass and framework of the cabinetry. Saves a lot of time that way, and the clarity and so forth matches up exactly with the Spraymaster. We do have one called Amber Master. This one is designed to help when you're tying into solvent-based stuff. It has a slight tone to it, and it really accentuates the grain and gives it that kind of honey amber look. Not over the top. You know, it's not something where we've added a bunch of color to it or anything like that. It's a clear finish, but it just has enough flavor to it, if you will, to where everything tends to work in with the solvent a little bit better. Color Master is our pigmented line. It's pretty much self-explanatory. It's the pigmented lacquer. Falls along the same lines as a pre-catalyzed lacquer. Very, very durable, very friendly to use. High solids product. All of these products are extremely high solids in nature, so less is more. Very easy to spray in that respect. Floor Master, again, self-explanatory. We keep things stupid simple here. So it's obviously for floors. That same product, it's very similar chemistry to the Brushmaster. So Brushmaster is real commonly used on bar tops, conference tables, things where you need that extra added abrasion resistance. There's a quick brochure that we have that puts our basic products out on it. We have the UV Master, which is for limited exposure, front doors, things like that, or windowsills where you get a lot of UV rays coming in. It helps mitigate and control that damage there. Great product, very easy to use, designed around spray, but what have you, it can be brushed on. There's retarders for all of these, so you can retard them a little bit and give yourself more open time, or you can add a little bit of water to it. It's a high solids product, so adding a little bit of water is not the end of the world with any of these products. UV Extreme, that's our newest product. That is for the extreme UV environment. A front door with no overhang, a garage door, something where you just need the absolute premium spar varnish type product, but in a water-based system where you can stack multiple coats in one day, finish a job, get out, and not worry about the durability of it. It will hold up every bit of where a spar varnish does, a true marine spar varnish. Not these generic ones you find at the home centers, but ones you find at a marine yard. Our stains have a couple of different stains. Our Eco Stain is our main one. It's a rather skinny one, designed to be sprayed, but can be put on liberally and wiped off by hand. We use a metal complex dye. These are the same dyes used in the leather industry, a lot of the fabric industry. They are quasi-exterior stains. Front doors and things like that with limited exposure, they work great on. I'm not going to tell you to go throwing these stains on a picnic table and leave it out in the middle of the environment. You're going to get some fade out. I don't care what the stain is, solvent, water, any of them, they all are going to fade out to a degree. It's all in controlling how much that is. The redder it is, the yellower it is, those colors tend to fade out quicker. If you've got something that's really harsh exposure, have us make a color up in pigment. You don't get that sharp, crisp clarity. You get a little bit muddier color, but you do get added protection with it. So, and that can be made up in the Eco Stain or our gelled stain. Quickly on our gelled stain, it's exactly what it is, but it's not a pasty gel. It's still liquidy. It's kind of a slightly gelatinous in nature. You can pour it out of the can, but it's got a vertical cling component to it. So you put it on liberally on something vertically, it's not all going to run down. The Eco Stain itself is skinnier than water, literally. So it's going to want to run all over the place, but by design. The gelled stain, you get more open time, you get more time to finagle it and so forth, and as in one of the videos will show you, it can be used as a glaze. It's very friendly, very versatile product. We have toners for toning the wood, we have grain fillers, we have glazes for doing these, we have gun cleaners, we have thinners, we have retarders. It is a complete line. That's the point I'm trying to get across. It's a complete line, complete system for it. Okay, real quickly, touching on a couple of products. This is our intermix system. There is a whole video on this. There's 50 colors in here. You get 4 colors. You can make any of these colors. It's well worth watching the video to see. It makes your life so much easier out in the field. Touch-ups, color consultations with your customers. It just really makes it easy, and you're not carrying 30 different colors around with you to make and monkey match other colors for it. Online, our website, which will show at the bottom of the screen there, before, after, and maybe if I can figure it out during the video there, there's a frequently asked questions page. In that, there's kind of some step-by-step tutorials about how to apply the stuff, your basic guidelines and so forth, as well as the benefits of switching to water-based, what equipment you use. For the most part, the same equipment you're using now, you can stay with. Just clean it out first and you're good to go. Dry time, grain rays, all of these are addressed. Grain rays is always a big concern with water-based coatings. Because ours is such a high solids coating, you will get some grain rays. You can pre-wet the grain and sand that off. There's all kinds of tricks, old school tricks that you can do to it. Find them so beneficial. Me personally, if I'm going to stain this, I'm going to stain it, put my first coat of clear on it, my second coat of clear. By that time, any grain rays is just about already buried because of the high solids of this product. After my second coat, that's when I do a very light superficial sand, just to level it. And then one final coat, I'm done. That's it. You will feel no grain rays. Any grain rays will have been buried by the coating itself. Again, we're dealing with 30, 35, 38% solids on these products. That builds real quick. At the end of that tutorial, there's a little formula to show you the benefits. Initially, it seems like some of the waterborne coatings are more expensive per gallon, but when there's a little formula there, when you figure out how much more the solids content are on these, and how much per square foot it is to get a certain millage, the waterborne coatings wind up being significantly cheaper than their solvent-based coatings or their lower solids water-based coatings. It's a very simplistic formula. You don't have to be a mathematician. You just plug in a couple numbers off the back of the can, what you're using now, and you'll see. And that doesn't even take into account all the solvents you have to buy, dispose of, and so forth. This is just gallon to gallon. Quick mathematical equation on there. You'll see it on there. I give a hard example of a brand X out there compared to this. It's very easy to do. Okay, enough about this. Do take a look at the website and the frequently asked questions and the tutorials. We're going to go through most of the tutorials on this, and we'll keep adding some as we learn new tricks and so forth. But spend a little bit of time, look through those. Feel free to call me directly, call any of my guys, and ask any questions you may have. Drop me an email. I'm out in the field constantly dealing with the guys. I get down and dirty and grubby. I'm a woodworker. This stuff is designed for the professional, but it's very friendly for the home woodworker as well, to right down to the retail layperson. It's just a very friendly, forgiving product. To screw it up, you really got to try. So give it a chance. Call us with any questions. Watch through the videos, and we'll go from there. My name is Rick with EcoSets Coatings. Thanks for joining me.
You tell them no, sir. Wine your body, wiggle your belly.